Well, today we are going to learn about how to exchange a token on one network into another network in crypto. And we'll be doing that using a website called simpleswap.io. But there are other exchange websites as well for accessing different networks. SimpleSwap does actually all of the networks that we're currently using right now on all of our platforms, SimpleSwap is able to handle. Although there have been times when SimpleSwap was down and I had to use Changely.com. So Changely is a good alternative if you can't get SimpleSwap.io to work for whatever reason. Maybe it's down for an hour or whatever. It's very rarely down, but there have been occasions where I had to do my swap on Changely. And I know there are others out there. You can Google to see if you can find another website. And one of the reasons it's good to know about different websites that are able to exchange from one network to another is once in a while you'll get on a platform that uses a network that maybe SimpleSwap doesn't handle, and you'll need to look at Changely or maybe Google another network to try to handle that other just another changing site, crypto exchange site, to see if that network is handled by that site. So just know that most of what we're doing right now, you can use SimpleSwap and you can have Changely.com as a backup just in case, and you'll do the exact same process no matter what website you're on. So if you learn how to exchange from one network to another on SimpleSwap, you should be good for just about anything you ever face in crypto. Okay, now I want to show you this because especially for our Canadian friends, you guys run into this quite a lot because there are networks that we can access in the US that in Coinbase that the Coinbase for Canada does not allow you to access. And that is especially true for the Binance Smart Chain, where in our American Coinbase, we can easily just change our USDC. That I always start my videos with funding USDC, and I make it so easy. I just have you guys convert. When you're going to Binance, for example, in the US, we here can just click this little arrow from USDC directly into, like, if we're going to do Binance, we just put the BNB in, and you can see USDC, which is where we have our cash deposited here in Coinbase, straight over to BNB. And when you're in the BNB token in Coinbase and you send that over to your MetaMask wallet, let's say you're going to invest in Veritas Vault, or you're going to go in the Trust wallet to invest in a different platform that uses a BNB Binance Smart Chain, when you send BNB over, we can access pretty much quite a few of the tokens within our wallets just to do a simple conversion or swap within the wallet within that chain. But when we get to Trust Wallet or we get over here to MetaMask and you're not able to convert those tokens if they're in a completely different chain, and that's when you're going to need to be able to do those conversions in a website like SimpleSwap if it's not able to be handled within the platform that you're working in. So let's say I'm in Canada and I want to bring money from my USDC over to my MetaMask wallet to invest in Veritas Vault, and I want to send BNB in to, of course, fund the token of BNB. In America, we just convert and it converts right into BNB. It's very easy. But there in Canada, we would have to do a SimpleSwap exchange. So let me show you what that would look like. We'll click over here to SimpleSwap, and it always defaults to Bitcoin, the BTC. So we're going to have to change that. We're going to do USDC. And so you'll type USDC and you're going to look for the one that says USDC ETH for Ethernet. In Coinbase, it always starts with USDC Ethernet. It doesn't have USDC in all of these when you're bringing cash in. It's just simply the Ethernet network that your USDC is in Coinbase. So whether you're in Canada or the US, this is the one you want to select. So you're going to set this up with USDC ETH that you're starting with. And let's say you decide you're going to just fund the BNB. It might be $5 and maybe you'll put $10 in, something like this. Okay, and then what you're going to do is you're going to say, okay, I'm sending this from my Coinbase. So the first one is always, where are you sending the token from? Okay, so if it's coming from Coinbase, you're going to start with USDC. Then we're not doing Ethereum, we're wanting to convert to BNB. If you're in Canada and you want to go into the Binance Smart Chain, you're going to search BNB. And when you type it in, it comes up. BNB on the BSC. That's abbreviated for Binance Smart Chain. So you're going to select this one. All right. So let's say you're sending over from Coinbase 10 of your USDC or 5. I recommend at least 5 for the Binance Smart Chain. In some of the other networks, you have to go a little bit more, but BNB usually is cheap enough to where $5 does pretty well with Veritas Vault and some of the other tokens that we have to do conversions from, but I just put this in for fun. So $10 of USDC will give us this amount of the BNB. And of course, it's always updating because BNB is a flexible token. So if you're sending a lot over, a lot of my videos, like when we're going into Veritas Vault, because we can send straight from Coinbase, I'll just simply send a whole bunch from Coinbase into my wallet into BNB for the large investment I want to do. And then I swap within my wallet. You might remember if you've watched those trainings, I just swap from BNB directly into the DAI token in the BNB Smart Chain, just right in within my wallet, because all I have to do is just click on that BNB and it's already in my network that I need to be in. So I just hit swap and I just swap it over to the DAI stablecoin when we set that up. Now, I don't want to do that right now, but I would select the DAI on the Binance Smart Chain. And this is what it looks like if I was doing that swap within MetaMask, which I'm not going to do right now. But that's literally how you do it when you're in Canada and your Coinbase does not let you buy BNB. You can fund your BNB right here. And also, since you're using Simple Swap, when you want to bring in your main investment in Canada, because you're not just sending things straight over to your wallet, you can actually do like from Coinbase here in the US, we could just send everything into BNB and then convert. But for you guys in Canada, what you're going to want to do is send your gas money straight into BNB. And then you're going to take your main investment. Let's say you want to do $100. And then you're going to go over here and you're going to type DAI. And remember, there's different kinds of DAI. DAI is a stable coin. We want to select the DAI BSC on the Binance Smart Chain. Very important if you're going into Veritas Vault, because that's the only DAI token that it takes. So you'll set it up with USDC on the top, like for your main investment that you want to bring in, and then you're going to just send straight your DAI stablecoin that you could do through Simple Swap directly through the Simple Swap network directly to the token that you use on Veritas Vault. And that's going to be the same for any other platform that you're using the Binance Smart Chain. You could just select whatever token it is that they take, and you can search it to see if it's available in the Simple Swap network of tokens. And then, again, it's going to auto-calculate minus the fees exactly how much you're going to get. Again, I don't want to hit exchange right now because I'm not doing that right now. We will do an exchange, and I will walk you through what that looks like. And I'll be doing that with the Tron Network, which is not accessible here in America in our Coinbase. And it's for a different platform that I'm wanting to fund. And I'm going to be doing the majority of my transfers into the Tron Network for this particular investment that I want to do. And again, we have multiple investments that we have to swap different tokens across, whether we're going out of Coinbase into this other network. And in the case of Tron, we have to run it through here in SimpleSwap here in America. And I imagine there in Canada, you'll have to do the same if you end up investing in some of the other platforms that we talk about in our trainings. But once you learn the process, you always start with USDC when you're going from Coinbase, USDC, Ethereum, directly into whatever network. That's the lower box. And then going out of the other network, let's say we want to take the DAI stablecoin like I have here in my MetaMask right here. I have this DAI token, and you can see the amount that I have. And let's say I want to convert that back into Coinbase in order to take it to my bank. I'll just swap this around. I'm going to go DAI. And this will be the same for you guys in Canada when you want to convert your token to go back into your Coinbase for the bank. You're especially going to need to do this. I can do BNB and cross the networks real easily in my MetaMask network wallet. I could just take the DAI stablecoin and just deconvert it into BNB and send it back to Coinbase, which is how I do it in my lessons. But for you guys in Canada, since your Coinbase can't take BNB, you could just do the DAI stablecoin that you're going to just send straight over from your wallet. It'll be DAI, and then you're going to click the BSC version that you'll send from MetaMask into SimpleSwap. And then you're going to convert it into USDC Ethereum to send it into your Coinbase. And the only difference is, of course, because you're going to send straight from the wallet the amount that you have, which in my case, if I were to do this, it would be the number here that I have. And it will always take out the fees. So you don't have to worry about trying to calculate what the fees would be. See how it will take the fees out? And actually, if I did this, I would get $36 in this conversion in the USDC, and then I'd send that to my bank in Coinbase if I were to try to do it straight from my MetaMask wallet here with SimpleSwap directly to my bank. So you in Canada, you guys can do that. Here in America, like I show in the withdrawals, I just send BNB from my MetaMask wallet straight into Coinbase. So you guys watch all those lessons, and when you get to taking funds out of Veritas Vault or any other platform where you have the Binance Smart Chain or any other token you're starting with, you always remember the one you're sending always goes in the top, and the one you want to go back to if you're going to your bank is going to be USDC Ethereum. So that's how we deal with the Binance Smart Chain going in and out, especially if we're dealing with Canada. It's really simple just to select the DAI BSC here in SimpleSwap, especially if you're doing Veritas Vault. This is what it looks like at the top. And then this is what you're going to go back to Coinbase on Ethereum. All right, now let's do another one that I want to show you guys. Let's say you're investing in one of our platforms that handles the Tron Network. The first thing, like if you're funding the Trust Wallet, for example, and you need to get that gas fee in, you use SimpleSwap, and my training already shows you how to put the gas fee in, so I'm not going to go back over that. But what I am going to show is how to use SimpleSwap. Let's say in the case of MetaMask right here, I've got some funds that I want to invest into some of my other platforms, and in particularly this one uses the Tron Network. Well, I can send this out of MetaMask directly through SimpleSwap to go into my Tron Network platform. So I've already put in the amount from my MetaMask wallet that I want to send in to the other network. The other network is going to be on the Tron Network. It is going to be USDT on Tron. And this is held in my Trust Wallet. All right, so here I have my Trust Wallet, which handles the Tron Network for these other platforms. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert my DAI on Binance, on the Binance Smart Chain that I have in MetaMask, and I'm going to send it to my Trust Wallet USDT Tron one. This is what it looks like. And the reason I want to send it to this one is where I'm trying to bring in a lot of funds that I'm planning to use to fund an investment. So you can see how much I'll get out of this after it's done with the conversion. And so I'm going to go ahead and do this conversion so I could send it to my USDT on the Tron Network in my Trust wallet. So now we'll walk through an actual exchange and the process of doing that. When I'm going from one wallet to another and I'm crossing the network, I'm going to send my DAI into my Trust wallet on the Tron Network. So the first address that I got to put in here, I need to enter the wallet address I wanted to send to. So I'm going from my MetaMask over to my Trust wallet right here. And so the address I wanted to send to, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get that address that I'm sending it to. I'm sending it to my Trust wallet. This is the token I want to fund. I'm going to go ahead and copy that and put that address right in here. And you always want to make sure it's the right address. Well, I've done this one enough and I happen to know that is the correct address for my Trust wallet because I've done this particular transaction a lot. I'm going to go ahead and create the exchange. Now that I have the address for my Trust wallet where I want this to go into, I'm going to now take a copy of my simple swap address that it's giving me, and I make note of the last 4 digits so that when I copy it in, I just want to make sure it's accurate. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my MetaMask right now where I'm sending this token out of. So right here, we're going to hit send. I want to send it to, making sure the last 4 digits match the last 4 digits of my simple swap address. The amount of DAI that I am sending in. Okay, that's the amount of DAI that I'm sending in on this exchange. And now I hit confirm. All right, it just sent that, and I should see this amount come in to my Trust wallet shortly. But the first thing we got to watch is the pending deposit here, the confirmation, the exchange, and the actual send will go through. All right, so it looks like it's confirming. It's already done that. So now it's exchanging, and once it says that it's done exchanging, it's going to show up in my wallet. I can, of course, click the view activity and look at tokens here in my MetaMask, and you can see the DAI token is down to a penny or whatever. All right, sending it over, and remember those fees are already taken out. So when it comes to my Trust wallet out of my MetaMask, it should match whatever the exchange it takes out, those fees already. So the amount that I get added to my Trust wallet should be equivalent to the amount that I'm actually sending over, minus the fees. And showing those addresses if I have any question. But again, I don't have to have an account. The advantage of having an account is it keeps a record of your transactions. But I just do simple swap without an account. Usually it's fine. But when you get an account, you have to go through a little more verification. All right, but normally I just send this over without creating an account. Look, it finished successfully. Let's check. And there we have it. My USDT on the Tron Network has received that additional amount that I sent over from my MetaMask wallet on the Binance Smart Chain where it had the DAI stablecoin, and I sent that in through Simple Swap. So you can see how easy this is to swap between wallets going with different types of networks. And you could do the same thing. Let's say you're staying within MetaMask or you're staying within the Trust wallet. You could do the same thing, just sending and receiving within the same wallet. You're just going to make sure that you get those wallet addresses put in correctly, because particularly with the Trust wallet, each one of these tokens, like if I'm using the BNB Smart Chain, you can see there's a different address for each one of these, and you don't want to make that mistake of grabbing the wrong address. So it's really important that you make sure you copy the right address in to make sure it doesn't get lost in the netherworld. You never know where it ends up. So you'll just copy this for where you're receiving it. If you're sending out of some other place like MetaMask into this, just make sure you grab the correct network token address that you want it to go into in your Trust wallet. Okay, so now that that has completed, we're now going to send some funds from Coinbase into my Trust wallet, and this would be the same for you guys in Canada when you're funding the DAI stablecoin from Coinbase into your MetaMask wallet. You're going to follow procedures very similarly to this using Simple Swap. So in my case, I'm wanting to fund this token here, USDT, on the Tron Network, and here in the American Coinbase, I'm not able to send all these funds directly into the Tron Network in Coinbase. I can't send it across networks because Coinbase doesn't handle it. Just like you in Canada, you can't get into the Binance Smart Chain either in your Canadian Coinbase. So we're going to do basically walk through from Coinbase, and I'm going to close this one down because I don't need to use Changelly. I just wanted to show you that. So going over here to Simple Swap, I am going to go ahead and refresh this screen, and we'll just close this one out and bring it back up. SimpleSwap.io to create a brand new exchange. This time I'm going again out of, like I showed you guys before, I'm going to use the USDC, and I'm going to pick the Ethereum network because I'm coming out of Coinbase, and I'm going to send this amount. It opens up when I try to grab that or click on it. And back, I don't think it hurts to, if I don't send the full cents over. It might be kind of picky. Looks like it doesn't want to copy just easily. I was just going to easily copy this. And then I want to click on the down arrow, and I'm going to go again to the USDT on the Tron Network. And again, you guys remember, if you're using the stablecoin, it would be a different token, but the stablecoin for Veritas Vault and Binance might give you a different conversion amount. But I'm just going to do USDT. Oh, and one more thing I got to do. In Coinbase, they're kind of picky here in the America version. You guys in Canada, you have it easy because you use the Interact method. In Canada, they use a system that's very fast. And so when you fund your USDC, it's immediate. But here in America, we got to check and see what's actually available. Because even though it looks like I have all that in here, I actually don't. I have to click on the withdraw tab, and you can see I actually don't have all of it available. So I'm going to actually have to copy what is actually available, which is $5.95, and I'm not going to worry about the 47 cents. That's hard to remember. I'm just going to say $5.95. I have more funds, but it takes a week to clear, obviously. So I'm going to do $5.95 in for this transaction. I'm going to go back over here and change this number because in my case, I don't have enough funds available. All right, so we're going to do $5.95 of USDC on the Ethereum network into the USDT on Tron. I'm going to create that exchange because I want to go into my Trust wallet to be able to fund this investment on the USDT Tron network. And USDT is the token that they take. So we're going to create the exchange coming from Coinbase, the amount that I have available to USDT. We're going to go ahead and hit exchange, and then I need to enter the recipient Tether USDT Tron address, which will be this token right here in my MetaMask wallet. Copy that. That's the one that's receiving. I'm going to create the exchange. Now you can see how every time SimpleSwap does an exchange, it gives you a different wallet address. So always make note of it in your mind, what those last 4 characters are, so you make sure you copy the right thing. All right, now we're going to take that and I'm going to send that from my Coinbase USDC. And that's the portion that is available to trade or to withdraw right now. So I'm going to go back to my home network. And you guys, some of you have the older version of Coinbase, or you're in Canada where it has a thing that says assets. You'll click on assets. In my case, I just click on home. And then I'm clicking back on cash, the 3 dots right here, where I'm going to send to this wallet, which is the correct wallet for my SimpleSwap. I'm going to hit enter on the Ethereum network. That's what's available down here, and I just had to make sure that that was the correct amount. Okay, now I can hit preview. It's going to send $5.95 in USDC over to my SimpleSwap exchange. There we go. Hit done. Now it's going to take a little bit to send it over because I'm obviously that's a larger amount, and so it's going to take a little longer. But we're going to do the same process where we're going to watch down here at the bottom to see it go through all the steps. And then once it's finished successfully, I'll check my Trust Wallet to make sure it has come in correctly. Well, take a look at this. Our conversion has finished successfully through SimpleSwap, and I now have, minus the fees, the $5.95 in Ethereum converted directly into the USDT in Tron. And I want to make a note of this because a lot of my videos that I've done, like using USDT, converting to that, or converting with some other tokens, I have done straight out of Coinbase directly through Ethereum. Like if you're in Canada, maybe some of my earlier lessons I talked about converting into Ethereum and then converting again into something else. Ethereum is a very expensive token to convert in and out of. So I'm going to recommend that whenever you can, just convert into the stablecoin of choice right out of Coinbase using USDC through the SimpleSwap method. It seems like that is a cheaper route to go. The other day, I did a USDT funding out of Coinbase, and I noticed the fees were $200 trying to convert in and out of through Ethereum into that platform, whereas if I had just done SimpleSwap, it would have only been $100. And you can see the fees weren't bad on this one either, because I had almost $100, and then you add the $5.95. I mean, to end up with $6.80, that's incredibly good for the amount I was able to bring in. And in the conversion, I only lost, it looks like about $10, maybe $15, I'm not sure. But I didn't lose that much because I had almost, I think it was like $95 or $96. And then, added this in there. And really if I had $96, which I forgot how much I had, $5.95, that's all. That would have been $6.91 without fees. So to end up with $6.80, a $10 fee for $500 going out of Coinbase into USDT on the Tron Network is a lot cheaper route to go. All right, so I wanted to show you guys this. Not only is SimpleSwap great from going from one network to another when that's the only way you can do your conversion, like in Canada where you can't get into the Binance Smart Chain unless you go through SimpleSwap. Here in America, when you're going to the Tron Network, it's certainly a lot easier to just convert straight into that stablecoin and not use Ethereum and then convert out into USDT. It's a lot cheaper to just use SimpleSwap and take it from USDC on Ethereum directly into the USDT you're looking for on whatever network you're going into. All right, so that completes our lesson here on using SimpleSwap to cross networks from one network in crypto, converting a crypto from one network over into a crypto in another network. So, you guys, I hope this is helpful, and we'll see you again next time.